Hey, what is going on YouTube? It is Will, and I have another anime figure for you guys, and it's going to be of Neonmax's 1/6 scale of an original character named Miyan. It came out just last month, September 2023. It's going for 23,700 yen on Amiyami right now, and they do actually still have some available, and they do have an exclusive version which comes with like an art print that costs just a little bit more. But I ended up getting mine off of Tokyo Otaku mode. I paid $147 with shipping, EMS shipping. So yeah, that's kind of how I justified this. I had to burn a lot of like time points in order to get this, and that's because I don't typically buy original character figures. In fact, this is my first one. I do have like a few figures from IPs that I'm not familiar with. Like up here, I have a Arknights figure. Then I have like a couple of more figures that I don't really play the game or watch the anime, just figures that I liked. So I got those, but this is my first completely original character. So super excited for it. Like, just kind of spoke to me. I mean, I absolutely love anime waifu with like silver white hair. I love the color of her eyes, her outfit, the whole vibe of this figure just really spoke to me. So I definitely had to pick it up. So here she is. So let's go ahead and get her open. Now, real quick, the box is actually quite small for a 1/6 scale. I was actually kind of surprised, but I guess it kind of makes sense because, you know, she is sitting in a chair. But the box itself, very nice. I think it's pretty plain. You really just have the artwork on the front and then just kind of that basic stuff on the back. So nothing like too crazy, but let's get her open. All right, so in the box, we of course have the figure herself. We have her little record player, the record player table, and of course the chair that she's going to be sitting in. Oh, and of course you do have her little fur scarf. So let's go and take a closer look at the figure herself. And of course I absolutely love the design of her. That's why I got her. It's her overall outfit, her look, her pose. It all just really comes together for me. But from a technical standpoint, I think they did a pretty decent job. I think I have like a couple like small complaints, but overall I think they did a really good job here. So starting with the dress first. So it's actually made out of two different materials. So the bottom half here is kind of this translucent plastic, so you can kind of see through it along her stomach and as well as on her back, and that part of the dress continues all the way down between her legs to the bottom of the dress. And then looking at the top half of her dress here, we just have a nice solid black here with a little sheen to it. But yeah, it looks pretty good. With these drawstrings here, again, under certain angles of light, you can kind of see a little bit more detail of like where these strings are like kind of pulling the fabric. And then she has like this little gold clasp around her neck, which kind of leads to the straps going down her back, just kind of holding it all together. And then looking at her arms, she does have the sleeves that she's wearing. And on these sleeves, you see some little prints on them. What looks like little leaves and branches and whatnot. And the arm sleeves have little buttons running down the actual seam of the sleeves, and they attach to her middle finger. Looking at her actual legs, so you know, we just have that painted on stocking look. Really no major complaints about that. I think it looks perfectly fine, but this is where I find another little flaw, or at least a little weakness in terms of the technical aspect of the figure. And that's pretty much where that painted part of her stockings, her leg, meets with the rest of her leg here. So there's that little seam that you can see along this black line here. You can't really notice it too much, but if you do look closely enough, you know, it is noticeable. But when you actually have her pose, you're probably not going to really notice it. So it's fine. Again, this is kind of a small complaint, but I just wanted to point that out. And then looking at her shoes, I think her shoes are pretty well done. I mean, really nothing too crazy. A nice size heel. I like the little strap around her ankle, and this little blue rose on the top of her shoes look fine. They match the blue rose that's also in her hair as well. And then looking at the pipe in her hand, so this does come pre-attached. So if you do get this figure, be very careful because I feel like it's pretty fragile. It can definitely break easily if you're not handling it correctly. But yeah, I think it looks pretty decent. Really nothing too crazy here, just solid black and gold paints. Really no shading or anything like that, but it's perfectly fine. It's a very small little accessory in her hand. And then looking at her face here, I absolutely love it and was definitely a big reason as to why I got this figure. It's just something about the look that she's given that just really speaks to me. I mean, looking at her eyes, I think they did a great job with her eyes. So usually when figures are like looking off to the side like that, sometimes or oftentimes they don't do it right. It just looks kind of weird. Her eyes just look unnatural sometimes. But this one, they nailed it absolutely perfectly with the head lean, just the placement of the actual eyes themselves. No matter what angle you look at it, it just looks natural and real. So definitely appreciate that. Love the yellow eye color, looks really good, just kind of pops when compared to like her hair and her actual outfit. And then she does have like some eyelashes, some eyeshadow, eyeliner, all that. So definitely love the makeup as well. And then, you know, got a little bit of lipstick there that's pretty noticeable. You don't have to be too close to look at it to see that she has like some red lipstick on and a little tiny mole on the right side of her face. Now jumping up to her hair. So this is another thing I did not notice until now. And that is this long braid that she has going on back here. Because when you look at her promo photos, you can't see that braid at all. There's one photo in the promo photos that show the back angle of her that do show the braid. I just completely missed it. I was just paying attention just pretty much to all the other photos of, you know, the front on shot of her. And you cannot see that braid whatsoever because they're pretty much covered with this little furry thing here in the actual photos. But in saying all that, I'm not mad. It is what it is. Like, braid, no braid, it doesn't really matter to me too much because again, I can't even notice it when I'm looking at her just from the front. And I pretty much already fell in love with her hairstyle just like this, just looking at her without the braid. So I can't see it. It's just there, I guess. So really no major complaints there. But overall, the sculpt of her hair, it's fine. Nothing too crazy here. I feel like braids are like some of the easiest things the manufacturers can actual sculpt. I could be wrong, but that's just how I feel. So it all looks very cleanly done. No major complaints here. But yeah, looking back at the actual front of her, the way you're supposed to be looking at her, I just think her hairstyle just really works. I love how the hair is coming down her bangs. I love how it's tied up back here with the chopstick and whatnot. I'm not sure what that thing is called. Now, I was looking at the promo photos of the figure and comparing it to what I have in hand. And I will say they definitely did a little bit of photoshopping here. So just looking at her face, the lipstick in the promo photos are just a much deeper red than what I have here on the actual figure. I mean, it's still, I will say, a pretty decent red that we have here. Very distinguishable, very noticeable, but just not quite as deep of a red that we have here in the promo photo, which of course I definitely would have preferred. And then even kind of same thing for eye color, it's definitely more of a deeper yellow than what I have here on the figure. And her hair color itself looks a little bit darker in the promo photos when compared to the figure here. It's definitely much lighter, very noticeable. But saying all that, I'm really not taking off too many points. I would say the biggest thing from the promo photos that I kind of wish we had was definitely kind of that darker lipstick, but still I think this looks pretty good. Now she is supposed to be a 1/6 scale, and just holding her in my hand, I would probably say she is like a smaller 1/6 or a larger 1/7 scale. I have Miku here from Quintessential Quintuplets, the 1/6 scale by Good Smile Company, and just kind of putting them next to each other. Miku's head definitely seems like it's a little bit larger in terms of overall scale, but it's really not that different. I would say, yeah, this is probably slightly on the smaller side for a 1/6 scale, but I would say it will meet my minimum requirements to classify under a 1/6. Now, is this figure worth the 23,700 yen that it's going for on Amiyami, or maybe slightly more on, say, Tokyo Otaku mode? I don't know. That's gonna be completely up to you. But I will say, for me personally, I think it was money well spent. I'm definitely very happy about it. The technical aspects of the figure, you know, were pretty spot on. And again, from the design, I just fell in love with her. So I had to have her in my collection. But that's all I have for this video. I have some Amiyami orders coming in just today, so expect those unboxings in the next 1 or 2 weeks or so, whenever I have time. But thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, easy way to support the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.